Hello everybody and welcome. Today's March 6th, 2021, and we've got a very special episode for you today. We have been brewing up some new ideas for Out of Mana that we can't wait to share for you, and we'll also be talking about some games we've been playing. I'm one of your co-hosts, Garrett.
I'm Ben.
And you're listening to
Out of Mana.
All right, Ben, how you doing?
I'm doing pretty good, actually. I feel like I say this every episode, but yeah, it's been an okay week. Went by really quick, except for Friday. Really hated Friday. That wasn't fun, but besides that, it's been all right. How about you, Garrett?
Doing pretty good. Yeah, it's been a very interesting week for the both of us, I think. We're definitely going through some big changes in life and stuff like that.
I mean, are you talking about today changes or actually week changes?
All changes. I mean,
okay.
Because
I know today was a big day, but like, was the week actually that big?
The week itself, no. But there's a lot of changes going on, actually. Speaking of changes.
Yeah, changes.
So, yes, we have some news about Out of Mana that we are very excited to share. Because, we always want to keep evolving this thing we've got going.
Yeah.
And we want to make it fun. We want to make it fun for us, and we definitely want to make it fun for you. So yeah, Ben, why don't you give them a little idea of what we have in store?
What we're planning on brewing up, as we said in the intro, Garrett said, is we're kind of thinking of doing some new segments. And these segments would more or less involve more of a history take. We're thinking of taking basically the histories of older gaming developers, maybe ones that don't even exist anymore, maybe ones that still exist and are flourishing now, and giving a in-depth look at them, what they created, how they started, what their early failures were, what their early successes were, and basically maybe what even leads to what they do now or to their ultimate demise.
And to follow up on that, we're going to be cherry-picking specific games from that developer to play and experience and dive deep into those as well, basically giving them a little history lesson there and our review of it, because we're actually going to be playing these.
Yes. So games... Yeah, we'll be picking one or two games per developer, maybe even more, depending. And yeah, giving our review, how the involvement and basically criticism it received when it was released, and the development, who developed it, and how that might have affected the style of games that company released since.
Yeah, we're super excited about this because we've been gaming most of our life.
Yeah.
Like, I was probably like 4 or 5 years old when I first started playing games. And we do know a lot about gaming, but there's still so much more that we don't know.
Yeah.
And why not use this platform for us to learn about stuff and become more educated, but also be able to entertain others and educate them as well. So that's kind of our new path. I'm super excited. I think we're going to start next week.
Yeah, I think we'll jump into it next week. We've got some kind of ideas on where we're going to go and which company we'll do first and which games as well. And I'm pretty damn excited because, again, yeah, this is stuff that might be from our childhood, maybe from yours. And it's going to be really fun to dive into it very deep and just get the lowdown, the full scoop, as you might put it, and relay it back.
Yeah, and don't worry, we are still going to be talking about the hottest news. So
we'll still do hot takes.
Yeah, we'll still do hot takes. They're just not going to be weekly sessions of just whatever's going on.
They might be more breaking news just in.
Exactly. So say, a brand new game just gets announced. We're probably going to do a short show on that and then release it the next day or even possibly that night if it's,
seeing how it works.
Yeah.
But we do need some time to edit and pretend like we actually edit. So yeah.
Exactly. So this is like our new venture. We're really excited because it gives us more motivation to do all this stuff.
It gives us more to do, and it gives us, because we've been playing games and talking about the games, but hey, why don't we play games that we can actually plan episodes around?
Exactly, yes. And you know what, frankly, there's not always a lot of news to talk about.
There isn't, like this week.
There's really not much to talk about, and so that leaves us kind of twiddling our thumbs.
Basically, this week we spent brainstorming. We just sat there and said, hey, how about we try this?
we're going to be picking out a developer pretty soon. We've been going through a few of them, and we have some great ideas.
Some kind of classic games, at least in our opinion, maybe not in yours, but some classic games, and even including a failed console from the early 90s.
Yes, so be excited for that one.
If you guys can guess which one, I would be shocked.
There's a lot of them. That's the problem.
There is no way you will guess it. I'm challenging you all fully. You will not guess which console we're going to do, because it is a rando, overpriced one from the early 90s, and you will not guess it.
So, yes. Man. Okay. So, you've been playing Hollow Knight, right, Ben?
I have been full scope, all my free time basically into Hollow Knight, and I've been enjoying it. I posted on Twitter. This is the game that keeps on giving.
So I don't want to go super deep into it, because this would be a perfect one for an episode later down the road of our new series.
And also, Garrett's still playing it, and I don't want to spoil anything about him.
I'm only like a few hours into it so far.
I've been very careful about the pictures I've been taking and sharing, because I'm like, oh, this is kind of a spoiler, but context means it's not a spoiler, so I can still share it.
To be quite fair, the game has been out for a while now.
It has.
And like, there's that certain level of, you don't want to spoil certain games for people.
True.
But like movies and stuff like that, like, well, especially nowadays with TV shows and movies, like Wandavision, for example.
Oh my god.
If you do not watch it at midnight when it's released, you will wake up to spoilers just on your
Garrett
feed.
and I have been watching Wandavision on Saturday nights.
Yeah, the next day, the day after.
Wandavision drops, as you might say, on midnight for Friday?
I'm pretty sure it's like midnight Friday, yeah.
So yeah, everybody watches it then, or they watch it on Friday night, as would most normal people. But Garrett and I, our schedules line up on Saturday. And yeah, everybody, Twitter, the world, I mean, basically everyone from your dead grandma is like tweeting about, WandaVision was so awesome, could you believe this? Oh, something about a baby, something about, like, the sun changed purple and the sky's red. And like everybody was dancing in the streets all around the world, Detroit, New York City. Like, I mean, it is impossible to avoid these spoilers, but somehow, some way, Garrett and I have managed to do that, and we finally watched the last episode. We're in the clear.
We are in the clear, and without any spoilers, what did you think of the whole series? I mean, we may as well talk about this since it's
there are some very varying opinions on a series. Honestly, so there's kind of one of the overall opinions. I'll say it's not spoilery. There's the beginning of the show, and then there's the later part of the show, which is more of the MCU universe style. So, in my opinion, both are great. The show did not get better, it did not get worse. It was consistently good, and if anything, it got more interesting.
Yeah, I think it got more interesting, to be honest.
So, in my opinion, the show is solid through and through. It starts off with a very heavy, almost psychological thriller mystery element. Very, very low key, but still there, and it introduces you slowly into that, and then it ends off with just great character development of the MCU variety.
Yeah, I gotta admit, they did really good on this one.
They did fantastic. You had Elizabeth Olsen, marvelous job. She shows up her sisters to the next degree. Honestly, those two twins, they're nothing compared to Elizabeth Olsen. She is awesome. And then you have Catherine Hahn, who, dude, she is just so much fun to watch.
She's a really great character.
Her character is a gas, as she might put it. And I love it. I love her. I love Elizabeth Olsen. And I'm really enjoying Paul Bettany playing Vision. It's a great show. And if you haven't watched it yet, you'll enjoy it. Even if you're not a fan of MCU at all, it's still fun to watch.
Yeah, because it's definitely a different take on how to do it, especially MCU. They do different things. Like, Thor, was it Ragnarok?
Thor Ragnarok, correct?
It was very silly. I mean, it was like a straight up comedy.
That one was more of a straight up comedy as opposed to Thor, the Dark World?
Or whatever it
like
was.
Thor,
the
basically Thor,
one.
Twilight Princess, which is just like the dark, edgy, like, ooh, we had the cartoony, now we're doing edgy. Yeah.
And I guess, Guardians of the Galaxy is kind of a comedy too. But
Guardians of the Galaxy is a solid comedy for sure.
It was weird to see Thor go from like kind of serious with kind of like, I'm dumb and I'm not from this world. So
how does electricity work? Oh wait, I'm Thor the Thunder God. I should know.
And then just to go straight up goofy in Ragnarok.
Yeah.
And then by Endgame and stuff like that, he's just like a token comedy character.
He is basically a token comedy character. That is pretty much it.
It was just very interesting to see his character development without any spoilers or anything. But
that's basically what the MCU comes down to. It is the reason it's so successful is because they have really nailed character development. As opposed to DC, which cannot even nail a hit movie to save its goddamn life.
But Ben, we live in a society.
We live in a society.
Oh,
Normal
man.
people scare me.
I'm so sick of Joker. I'm so tired.
I mean, watching the Joaquin Phoenix version what showed that it could be done very well, and it was.
True.
As opposed to what we've seen before with the
Jared Leto.
Yeah, we won't go on about that. DC just hasn't really nailed it. MCU has. They've done a really good job, and it's been consistently good. They have a consistent quality, even in their movies that aren't considered so favorably. And I think WandaVision captures that in a very good moment in time sort of way.
Mm-hmm.
So I would recommend watching it. If you haven't and you're not sure about watching it and you really care about my opinion on it, yes, watch it because it was good. And I'm a hard bitch to please, and I liked it.
You'll have to watch the rest of the MC universe, so you got about, 16, 18 movies to watch before you can...
You can still enjoy it even without, though. I mean,
you
can still...
technically could.
Because the show has a bit of backtracking in it, too, where they kind of, give you some... They kind of give you some idea of what happened.
You know what? That's pretty true. Like, you could literally go into this, not know what's going on, and they give enough, flashback kind of stuff to know exactly what the situation is at the time.
I would highly recommend watching the rest, just like Garrett said, but you have a lot of backlog if you haven't watched it, and I'm sure you're already well aware of this, but you can just jump into it too, because it's an enjoyable experience.
So, anyways, back to Hollow Knight. I don't know how we got on that tangent, but yeah, Hollow Knight. How much time have you put in it? Do you think?
I put quite a lot. I'm probably at 25 to 30 hours into it.
Wow.
And I've been enjoying it. Those 25 to 30 hours have been hours that I don't have a lot of free time after work. I have a long commute, so I come home and I play that, and I really, really have been enjoying it. It's an extremely difficult game. It's a skill-based game completely, tactical too as well, and I enjoy learning all that. I've been enjoying learning it. I've been enjoying even my failures, which will eventually lead to successes, and the successes are extremely satisfying because it's just a very well put together game.
Yeah, I mean, there's something about that game where you walk into a room and you can almost tell when it's boss fight time because you're walking down a hallway and you're like, nothing's really happening.
Yep.
And this room is getting kind of big.
Yep.
But sometimes you'll get caught off guard.
It's mostly the high ceilings that get me.
Yeah, it's the high ceilings and you're like, okay, something's about to happen.
Yep.
And the problem about boss fights in this game is once you're there, you're sealed in.
Yep, the gate slams shut behind you, and you are... The boss fights usually involve you learning, and there's probably 3 or 4 bosses that I was able to do on the first try.
Yeah.
The rest, and this game has a lot of bosses, not first tries. I had to die a few times to at least get them down.
I was going to say, so far, what's been the hardest boss? Not by name. I guess the better way to pose this question is, what boss have you died the most from before beating him? What has been
the hardest boss? There was the Crystal Knight. He was really annoying. Usually, I mean, I wouldn't say there's been a hardest one. They've all had kind of a consistency to them because they're all very different from each other in a way. Mm-hmm. The Crystal Knight, though, there's also a dream version of bosses. I won't elaborate too much on that, but there's a dream version, which is a harder version of the boss. And the Crystal Knight his version is very, very hard. Mm-hmm. There is also, I think he was called the Tainted One. His version took me a lot of tries, his dream version. So I'm mostly mentioning the dream versions because those are ones that I maybe even haven't finished yet. Mm-hmm. I've done the Tainted Ones, but I have not done Crystal Knights yet. And they've been tough. And then there's also the Colosseum of Fools. I will not go too much further into that just for spoiler's sake, but that is hard as hell. As very, very hard. There are 3 challenges, and the third is hard as goddamn hell.
Meanwhile, I'm over here. I've only beaten the first boss, which it's kind of one of those games where there's no first boss, second boss, because you can run into these bosses in any kind of order, depending on which path you go. I mean, some areas are blocked off due to not having a specific skill.
Yeah. But
I'm pretty sure in the area I'm at, I could have either fought in this boss or another one. And so I found this one first.
Which one was it, the Fly?
No, it was, I guess that wasn't a real boss, though.
He's a boss.
It didn't have a name, did it?
I think the fly had a name.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess
I think it was called like Mama Fly or something. I don't know. It was called something like that. That was like my first boss. So how would I remember that?
mine was the False Knight.
Oh, the False Knight. Yeah, I forgot about that guy.
That was my first one.
He's fun actually.
That was a fun one. I was able to beat that one on the first try.
Yeah.
Only because I had played this game before. I got maybe like 8 hours into it, and then I kind of drifted away.
This is my first time playing the game, so everything I've encountered is completely full of candor.
But we'll be able to go deeper into Hollow Knight when we do an episode on it, so we don't want to talk about it too much.
Just for Garrett's sake, I really don't want it. I want him to be surprised by the late game stuff because he has not gone that far into it.
Correct,
still.
yeah.
And there's so much fun. I'll say it again. It's the game that keeps on giving. It really does. You can finish the game at 50% quote unquote completion, and it takes a long time to get any past that.
Cool.
I'm at 90-something%, and I've spent a lot of time getting there.
And does that include collectibles and stuff?
That includes collectibles. That includes characters, like their little things that involve them, like quests or whatnot. And that also includes challenges and bosses.
I mean, I don't know if this is news to you, but I'm pretty sure I read somewhere that Hollow Knight has like a...
Like 115%.
Yeah, 150%.
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
just making sure.
I am aware, and I can only imagine how you get there because I've done so much. There was one random thing I did that involved a mushroom, and I had no idea what was happening, and I think I finished it, and I don't know, but it was just so random. It was in an area I had already been to, and I just went back, and yeah, this game is full of that stuff, and I love it. I'm saying that in the most positive way possible. I love it.
Cool. Well, I'm excited to dive in. I've been meaning to play it, but
yeah, what have you been focusing on lately? What have you been playing instead of Hollow Knight? Please tell.
So I kind of have this thing where I play RuneScape.
Okay, I was waiting for that. I could see like the R forming on his lips. Okay, so we're back to RuneScape. Okay.
Yeah. So
do tell.
RuneScape was one of the first games I ever played online. That is.
RuneScape was the second online game I played. I played Toontown first.
Toontown was
and
your
Neopets.
First. Yeah, I guess if you can count Neopets. Well, I did RuneScape before Neopets too. So Neopets.
I introduced you to Neopets. You introduced me to RuneScape. Yeah. And at the time, I thought it was called Runescape because our asshole friend Brandon, I was like, how do you say this? Is this Runescape? And he's like, yeah, it's Runescape, man. Yeah.
He just liked to mess with people.
And I was a child. I didn't know what a rune was. So I was like, okay, Runescape, that makes sense.
So anyway, go on. We talked about RuneScape in past episodes, but just to break it down, it's a online MMORPG that's been around since 2001.
It's an oldie.
It literally have been celebrating its 20th anniversary. And it's still going, which is crazy. So there's the game that's been continually progressing, which is called RuneScape 3.
Now called RuneScape 3.
And then they did the whole thing, which kind of started a bit of a movement in the MMO, where they did an old school version.
It is funny because no one's giving them credit for that, but they definitely started that.
I mean, unless I'm wrong, they're the first ones who did old school first.
You're not wrong because
World of Warcraft.
I mean, there's other games out there too. There's EverQuest. There's what's the other big one called? Whatever. But I'm pretty sure RuneScape started it. I agree.
Yeah, because now World of Warcraft has WoW Classic.
And it's doing well.
Which is doing very well. And it's because people want to live that nostalgia. Like for me, old school RuneScape, the second version they did, is they basically took the code from 2007 RuneScape.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure that's the year. 2007
I think it was a 2007
or 2008 Scape or something like that. I think it's 2007.
Yeah.
And I mean, that they just released that game.
This was one of the most beloved versions of RuneScape, just like vanilla WoW is the most beloved version of WoW. And in this case, yeah, they took it, they brought it back, and they kept it. They basically preserved that state and then added new content to that did not exist in RuneScape 3.
Exactly. So it's as if
it's a separate game, basically.
It's a separate game, and which is cool because some people might be like, okay, why would you want to go replay this grindy kind of super long time consuming game that you've already done before? But that's the thing is, all that stuff that you did,
the end game's different.
The end game is different because you get there and all the stuff is there from before, but now they're adding like more. There's new areas.
They added a continent, didn't
There's
they?
like a whole new continent. There's tons of new quests. There's new ways to skill. You know, there's pets. Actually, there's no new skills. Sorry, but like there's new methods of.
Did they add
getting
pets?
XP. Pets are in that. I think there's like boss. Well, it's like boss pets. You earn them.
Okay.
So it's kind of like a trophy in a sense.
So I'll tell you guys right now. I stopped playing RuneScape 3 because it went too far. Well, once I saw people walking around with angel and demon wings, I was like, God, no, this does not need to be IMVU, like Gia Online. Please, no.
Yeah, so RuneScape 3 kind of introduced this thing where, like in old school RuneScape, the way your character appeared was whatever armor or clothing that they were wearing.
They were real items, and if you had certain real items on, goofy ones at that, they showed how old you were or how rich you were.
Yep.
And basically, RuneScape 3, what Garrett was going to say, and I interrupted, they added vanity items, which did not exist in the game. You bought them with real money.
Yeah, they're called cosmetic items. And, yeah, now you can basically be wearing a full set of armor with, like, super gaudy armor with giant weapons and stuff like that. But you can cover it up. Make them invisible. And then you could just be wearing, like, flip-flops and a t-shirt and some shorts and some sunglasses
It literally ruined the feeling of RuneScape, because RuneScape was a game where what you were wearing was, like, what you had. Mm-hmm. And it was a statement. Like, those were statements. The party hats, the berets, I remember those were a big thing way back when. Any of that was a statement. And the vanity stuff just completely ruined that. Yeah, in my opinion.
Well, and it's a lot of people's opinions, because that's why they want to go back to old school RuneScape.
And that's what kind of spurred it on, I believe. Yeah.
Yeah, is a lot of people were like, all these microtransactions, which is where most of this stuff comes from, it just ruined the game for them, and so they want to go back to the old school. But a lot of people, like people who play the modern RuneScape, that's a big reason that they chase certain items, is because it's cosmetic. It's just like, for a lot of people, it's a social realm where they play because that's where their friends are. They just get on Discord, they talk with their friends, and they do some some bossing together.
Or they meet their life partner there.
Yeah, or you meet your life partner there, or
Garrett can speak for that, and then some.
Well, in the past, but
well, we're talking past partners that might have been life, but turned out not to be.
Yeah, I literally met a girlfriend on RuneScape at a time, and the relationship lasted for quite a few years. I met him in real life.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with it. It's a good thing. I mean, I've heard people who have been married.
Yeah, for sure.
Jolly bully good for them.
It's definitely an opportunity. It's almost like online dating. It's like Tinder or anything. It's the same thing.
It's literally the same thing.
What's even better is you get to live in this different world and be able to play it for hours together.
I feel like we're advertising in the mid-2000s right now, where it's like you can be in a different world and be who you want to be, as long as it's BARBIE. And go on.
But anyways, back to what I'm actually doing in the game.
Yeah, so you're playing RuneScape 3, correct?
I'm playing modern RuneScape 3.
Okay, and so you're playing shitscape. Okay, go on.
Yes, as many would say.
With no giraffes.
No giraffes. Shout out to Pygmy on that one. Let's see here. I am working on their newest skill, which is called archaeology. Mm-hmm. It's the reason I'm back in the game.
You got your little mummy pet, I saw.
I did get a mummy pet, yes. But so archaeology.
Are you my mummy? I'm sorry, Garrett. I'm sorry. I keep interrupting. Go ahead. Sorry.
So every time this game comes out with a new skill, I always come crawling back, because at the end of the day, this game is like my childhood, and it's still progressing. It still has a lot of people that play, and there's a lot of skills that growing up you always wanted the game to have. Now, archaeology wasn't one I even could think of.
Construction.
For Ben, construction was huge.
Guess who works in construction now in real life? But as a kid, when they added that skill, ooh, I was excited.
Yeah, it was like his jam. Well, it was another thing is it was a huge statement, because
it was statement.
It was the most expensive skill to train.
Getting gold leaf, I think marble blocks were like 200k each. Gold leaf, I think, was 100k each. This was early construction. This was when it first came out. So now everyone and their mother has a goddamn house, but back then.
And by 200k, we mean 200,000 gold coins.
Yes.
Which was a sizable amount back in that day. It was hard to make money.
Does Classic have construction?
Yes.
Good.
Yeah, it's still there.
Good.
I think the latest skill that old school RuneScape has is...
Not summoning. I want to say summoning.
I don't think it's summoning.
Thank God. Summoning was the beginning of the end. Summoning was the beginning of the end. You can shoot me behind a shed if you want, but it was the beginning of the end.
So in RuneScape, you have a bunch of skills, such as like crafting, mining, smithing, and back in the old day, the highest level you could get was 99. And to reach that, it requires, it's like 13 point something million XP, which it's a lot. Like, it takes time.
That's a whole mother load of XP, trust me.
So
you're going to chop a lot of wood to get that.
Since, there's a wood cutting skill, but since, it's a 20-year-old game. People are playing this. They had to come up with something new. And so what they did is called virtual levels, and it's levels past 99. And now there are some skills where that means nothing. Like you're literally just gaining experience in this, and it's just like an achievement thing.
It's literally just so you can play the game more.
It's just so you can play the game more.
What it is.
And you can go up to level 120, which is like, it's like 80, no, I think it's even 100 something million XP.
Why not?
I'm sounding really ignorant right now because I don't have a 120.
You're just ignorant.
Nor do I want one, to be honest. It's so much effort. But the way that they get you is that at level 99 on a skill, you get a skill cape, which is kind of like a show off.
It's the statement piece.
It's like, hey.
It used to mean something. It doesn't mean anything anymore.
99s are pretty easy to get now.
It literally means nothing anymore.
So they had to introduce something harder, which is the 120 cape. And they're very cosmetic because unlike the 99 cape, they have an animation at the bottom of them, which matches with the cape. So it'll be like, if you have a woodcutting cape, which is like brown and green and stuff like that, there'll be like this green particle that's kind of it kind of looks like a fire effect at the bottom of the cape.
And if you have a fire making cape, and guess what? There's fire making in this game. There's a literal skill for building fires in this game. That has always been the funniest one. But the cape will have a fire at the bottom.
Yeah, it's very cool. It looks very nice with your outfit, and a lot of people literally chase these 120s. I mean, it can take months to get to 120.
Some people are chasing them into their graves, really.
Yeah, and so some of them are just cuz, but then they realize, hey, we can grow skills by making people want to like do this more. So there's certain skills that 120 is the actual true cap. For example, they made like herb lore, like making potions and stuff like that. That has a true 120 now. So they introduce new things that like, hey, at level 110 you can create this new potion. Whereas most things, once you're 99, you can do everything in that skill. You have made it available. But yeah, now there's skills like Slayer, which is where you're contracted, like basically killing.
You just kill things in the game, which you already did, but you now have a reason to do it.
It gave you an incentive, and so that's a true 120 now.
Yeah,
and yeah, it just opened up the door to play the game more.
I mean, this is now a deep dive into RuneScape.
I know, sorry.
If you're even listening to this, you probably already know all this stuff, but hey, it's RuneScape. Like, most people know my brother-in-law, my sister plays it, and my brother-in-law says like, "Oh, you're playing some RuneScape, you chopping some wood, you pretending to cook, you making some fire." Like the way he would talk about it, it's just it gave me an idea of what people who had no idea what this game was looked at it and they were like, "Why are you doing chores in a video game?"
This game is basically a giant chore, but it tickles that sense of like achievement.
I mean, I don't know about you, but I work with lumber, I cut lumber all day, but I'm not going to go out into the wild and chop down a tree and then chop it into logs and then make fire out of it in a long line. So I can do that in RuneScape. Yeah, it's just this weird thing where it's kind of like one of those games that you just play mindlessly because it gives you that serotonin. It totally does.
And it really clicks with some people.
It really does.
And like, get addicted to it.
And like Garrett said, the social aspect. It is a very social game.
Yeah.
And since they've expanded the ability to speak in the game a lot more since 2006, it's gotten only more.
Yeah, more so. I mean, who doesn't want to like talk with friends, hang out with friends, and then like also see a bunch of stats and numbers go up?
Yeah.
It's just like, look at how much I'm getting done, even though I'm not.
It's basically IMVU with a point.
So I'm working on archaeology because I have 99 in all other skills, and I want to re-max, as they call it, my account. It's just something that I want to do.
Yeah,
it's like this weird thing where I've played this game for so long, even though I've kind of grown out of it, I'm still attached to it.
You've never grown out of it.
I've never grown out of it, and the joke with RuneScape is you never quit RuneScape. You just take a really long break.
My break has been very long.
Well, Ben may have finally escaped it.
I've got a life, so I do RuneScape no more.
So that's where I've been. I'm level 89 out of 99.
Oh, okay.
On archaeology.
You're like level 100. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm 89 out of 99 on archaeology. The funny thing about how these skills work with experience, when you're level 92, that means you're halfway there.
Yeah.
So you get to 92 and you're like, oh, I'm only halfway to 99. You still have so much more to go. But typically the way it works is once you get to that higher level, you're able to do things which grant you more experience.
Yeah.
So it typically speeds up the process.
Especially in the current version of RuneScape 3, they add so many ways to multiply your experience gain.
Correct.
It's in old RuneScape, it's absurd.
Yeah, in old RuneScape, old school RuneScape, getting a 99 is really
It was
really
a
hard.
legit achievement, and very few people had it.
Yeah.
Now, again, like your fetus can get 99 in any skill before it's even born.
Yeah, I remember when I was a kid, I was like trying to plan my 99s out, and I'm like, okay, if I fish lobsters for this amount of time, and it's getting me this much experience.
By the time I'm 30, I'll be 99.
Exactly, like that.
Yeah.
I was talking to my girlfriend Sydney about RuneScape. I was teaching her a few things, and I was showing her like how we used to do things. Like, okay, so I was fishing this, I'm making this much XP per fish, I'm catching about 10 like per half hour or what, like that.
Yep.
And then you're multiplying, you're like, okay, well, if I keep this up, I should be level 99 in 88 hours.
I should be level 99 in 20 years, and by the time I'm retiring, hopefully, then I'll be 99 in fishing. And Sydney's probably looking at it going, wow, why don't I just do that in real life and actually succeed in something? But it's RuneScape. This is how it is.
And now I'm going to justify this. The reason that I'm playing this game is because I'm also catching up on like TV shows, anime, and stuff like that. And RuneScape is notorious for being what you call an AFK game.
Yep.
Which AFK stands for away from keyboard, which means you're just not present. It just means you're not really paying attention.
We're teaching everyone listening on a computer about AFK. I'm sure none of you know.
If you don't know, that's what it means. And so what basically in RuneScape, it kind of plays itself in a way because it's a point and click kind of game.
With chunk, chink, chink, chunk.
So basically, I can click on something in the game. My character is working on something, and I don't really have to pay attention all the time. I basically have to check the screen every 30 seconds.
It's like playing The Sims. Your character will do what you tell them to do until they finish the task. So that gives you time to look away from the screen.
And the game is built to make you have to look back at the screen. And, if you're not active for like 5 minutes, it'll sign you out. But
it used to be worse.
It used to be way
You used to have
worse.
a random events where like the sandwich lady would appear behind you and she'd be waiting. If you didn't respond to them, they would like beat the shit out of you. Like, if you did not respond to them, you would die, or you would get sent back to the beginning of the game. Not level-wise, but just the location.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they call them random events. And basically, you would be skilling in a way for RuneScape to get rid of bots, like programmed characters to play the game for you. They would have this NPC show up out of nowhere, try to get your attention for about 30 seconds, maybe even up to a minute. But
I think it was about a minute.
It was about a minute. And if you didn't talk to them, they would punish you.
Yep.
They would either like break your utensil, like if you're chopping wood, it would literally break your axe to where you would have to like repair the axe head.
The what was it, the tree or something? The tree end?
The tree it became an evil tree.
Yeah.
And it would eat your axe head, or it would fling your axe head away to where you had to repair your thing.
Yeah.
It was really funny. And they got rid of that because they just came up with better ways to deal with bots.
And they did. These random events got pretty in depth. Like I mentioned, the sandwich lady, when you did click on her, if they were able to program a bot to talk to the random event, then she would ask you to basically do a CAPTCHA thing. Mm-hmm. She would say, you can have a free hoagie sandwich. Click on the hoagie sandwich in this list of sandwiches. And if you clicked on the wrong sandwich, she would fuck your shit up. She would be like, I did not say you could have that, you little shit. And then she would beat the hell out of you with her baguette and send you back to Lumbridge.
Yeah, you would get sent to a random place. I think it was random. I don't even think it was Lumbridge.
Really? I thought it was Lumbridge.
It may have been, but she would hit you and you would literally get teleported to somewhere else in the game. And you would have to trek all the way back to wherever you were doing that thing.
And that's how quite a few of the random events were. Then they even added some that teleported you from your location to a random event place, and you participated, and then you were teleported back.
Yeah, it was like a mini game, and you would get rewarded for it.
So random events weren't a bad thing.
Yeah.
They were actually an incentive as well as a thing against bots. But the incentive was if you completed them, you could get rare cosmetic items. Mm-hmm. And they were really cool, and people who had full sets of them, that was another impressive thing back in the day.
Yeah, it was just a cool thing to have. So that's how skilling kind of works. So basically, I've been watching anime, and I've been like letting RuneScape do its thing.
Are you watching One Piece still?
So I'm currently going through 4 or 5 different anime right now.
Have you seen what happens?
No, what?
I caught like a clip of One Piece.
Of One Piece?
Yeah.
Okay, well, no, don't tell me, because I'm like 2 episodes behind on that one.
Are you 2 episodes behind?
Something like that, yeah.
Oh, I don't know if this is a current one or not.
Okay, well, don't say anything.
Okay,
I'm like 1,000 episodes in. Don't ruin this for me.
I want to know now. Okay, I won't. I'm really tempted because I know the name of the thing I'm about to say too. So go.
Okay,
ahead,
never mind.
We'll skip it.
So One Piece, that's one I'm always working on.
Yep.
I've been watching a new one called Jujutsu Kaisen. Jujutsu Kaisen. It's not jujitsu, it's jujutsu.
Is this another like all boy cast one where they're all sexy and sweaty all the time and it's basically not meant for you to watch?
No. I mean, I feel like they always end up like that at some point, but no, this one's about
It's either girls or boys, so
this one is about I'm only a few episodes in. I've been like 10 or 11 episodes. I'm watching this one with Sydney actually.
Ooh.
And it's about like sorcerers.
It's called Jujutsu Kaisen and it's about sorcerers.
Yes.
I was imagining like Jet Li, so excuse my American.
That's what I'm saying. It's not jujitsu, it's jujutsu.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Which I don't know the difference, but anyways.
Yeah, we're filthy Americans. Sorry.
Basically, the way it works is there's curses in the world, and not everyone can see them except for these gifted people. And
that sounds like the Ghost's wife or whatever comic I was reading.
And there's these people. It's their job to get rid of them. And so basically, it's a classic thing where some kid who's unaware of how powerful he is gets thrown into the mix of this thing, and he gets involved, and he's like
the chosen one.
He's like a chosen one kind of situation. So
sweet.
So that one's been a lot of fun. Attack on Titan, the final season.
Ooh, have you been enjoying like the God Titans and all that?
It's a very interesting twist. Like
Titans keep getting bigger and bigger.
I don't want to spoil any Attack on Titan because, you know, I was kind of wishy-washy on this series in the beginning, but I stuck with it. And now that it's mostly all out, like this is the final season, they're probably gonna break it up into like 2 parts.
I've never been able to get through season 1.
You got to. I promise you. Like if you keep going, I don't want to spoil anything, but like you gotta just see where this show goes. It's probably like my top 3 anime.
The Potato Girl, like I couldn't really do that anymore.
Oh come on, we learned to love Potato Girl.
Do you?
Yes, you do.
Do you?
Yes.
Okay.
Trust me.
Maybe someday. Maybe someday.
So the other one I'm watching is That Time I Got Reincarnated as a Slime.
That Time I Got Reincarnated as a Slime.
Yes, which
sounds like
silly.
A 1980s movie or a 1960s Disney movie.
So basically what happens, this is like no spoilers because it happens in the first 5 minutes. Regular old dude, I think he's like in his late 20s or 30s.
Gets reincarnated as a slime.
He basically gets killed in real life.
Like he's crushed by a toilet falling from space or something.
No, he literally gets stabbed.
Oh.
He actually saves someone and gets stabbed.
Oh, of course he's a good guy.
So he dies, and then some weird stuff happens.
Is it like a medieval slime, like in dungeons?
Yeah.
Oh, sweet.
So it's cool. So
okay. I was actually... Okay, cool. I was shooting in the dark there.
It is literally going for like JRPG slime. Like, ooh. I am the lowest level character monster in any JRPG.
Does he have to work his way up the monster list?
So...
Because you're catching my interest right now. So does he work his way up?
You would like this show. That's what I'm saying. I didn't know this show would become an anime cast, but here we are. He dies. He becomes a slime. But... So you're like... There's monsters and humans.
Uh-huh.
And it's very JRPG where this
is there like a hierarchy?
There's a hierarchy, yeah.
Ooh.
And so he appears to be the lowest level slime. But
okay.
Of course he's special. So
they're always special.
I would highly recommend this one. I really like the animation. It's very funny.
Okay.
Like I enjoy it. And the story's really cool. Like I'm intrigued. I'm curious where he is. Cause like,
has he killed any adventurers yet?
No, he's not killing anyone. Well, I don't want to spoil anything.
I want to. Okay, fine.
I mean, he is a monster, so it's very funny how this show can be very okay. So I said it was funny, but it can also be very violent and serious.
Juicy.
It's one of those classic like, okay, this can get really dark and violent.
Juicy.
But it's also very silly.
Yeah, just like yeah. So. It sounds good. I mean,
yeah,
I want to know more, but I'll hold back because it sounds good.
And then the last one I'm watching is, I don't know if I'm pronouncing this right, but it's like Haikyuu, and that's the one you're referencing to. It's about high school volleyball, boys volleyball. and it's been like a lot of fun.
Garrett has been enjoying it immensely. He's been spanking off a lot to that. He loves it. And you should see the fan art. Garrett has a really... He's talented.
Oh my god.
He can really draw like this stuff really well, and his fan fiction is top. Like he makes J.K. Rowling run for her money. Like he can really do this stuff good.
You're literally talking about the least talented artistic person in the world. So, I guarantee this stuff exists, but I am not the one creating it. It's just such a good feel-good show, and it's just funny how they can turn a sport like volleyball into something so exciting and intense, because that's what anime does. You should
go to the beach, Garrett. You should see how intense it gets there.
You know, I was thinking about that the other day.
Like Dead or Alive. Have you ever played Dead or Alive?
Okay, well, Dead or Alive is very... Volleyball seems to be that one where they managed to make it extreme.
Because it's one of the sexiest sports alive.
Well, that is true.
Did you not watch, what was it, Top Gun, where they had like the volleyball scene that was extended beyond...
Oh my god, you're right.
Why? But, I mean, it was in the movie.
There's a lot of sports animes. I'm pretty sure there's a baseball one. There's a very popular basketball one. It's just, I've never done a sports anime before, and this was one of the top ones, so I checked it out.
Well, I'm glad you like it. It sounds cool.
Yeah, jokes aside, it's actually very exciting and fun. Very funny. Like, I am laughing out loud a lot of the time at this thing.
Like you're guffawing quite often.
So that's what I've been working on. I've been mixing all of those while just playing RuneScape, and frankly, I feel a little disappointed in myself, because here I am, one of the lucky people to be owning a PlayStation 5.
And you're not using it whatsoever.
I am using it.
Go ahead.
No, I'm using it. Like, I've been playing Spider-Man, but...
Well, yeah, what about Miles Morales? What happened to that?
We're gonna get there.
We're gonna get there.
I got sucked into RuneScape, and I'm stuck in this routine where I work. Work's been rough. I get home, and I just want to sit down and watch a show. But RuneScape's nice because you can watch a show and play a game at the same time. So I feel like I'm being productive, and that's why people get addicted to RuneScape. Here I am.
I'm even worse. Like, I come home and I watch like weird movies, and then I eventually fall asleep. I watched Attack of the Bee Girls from like 1973 the other night. I don't know why I watched it. It was awful. It involved... I don't know why they were bee girls. I don't know what their point was. I don't know what any of their motives were, except to kill men in sexy ways. It was weird. And so I'm not one to judge here. Go ahead.
Ben should really make his own movie podcast, because he has watched, I mean, I would say thousands at this point, right?
I've watched a lot of movies.
Like,
I've watched a lot.
If you mention a movie, Ben has probably watched it.
If you mention a movie pre-1990, I've probably seen it.
Like, we're not even exaggerating. Even the obscure ones.
Mostly the obscure ones, actually.
Which is great, because it's very interesting, because whenever we watch things together, Ben's able to be like, I feel like they definitely were influenced from X amount of time.
Yeah.
Or this is totally copying this or that. And it's very cool to have that insight.
I'm glad you think so, because otherwise it'd be annoying.
I mean, it can be sometimes.
Oh, wow. Okay. Never mind.
It just makes me feel bad, because I'm like, here I am just like mindlessly watching this movie especially when a movie purposely is hinting towards something that you don't realize.
Yeah.
You know, like very popular movies like Space Odyssey. I've never seen it. And I guarantee there's been so many references.
There are so many references to that movie. It's not even funny, Garrett.
Exactly. And guess who's missing out on that? Me. I'm just a dumb one twiddling my thumbs like, ooh, this is a good movie.
I mean, I get it. It's a dated movie now. I get that. But it is so good, and it's been referenced in so many ways. How... Yeah, someday, Garrett. I have the VHS tape. We can watch it.
Okay, we'll definitely do that then. Man, this is turning into a Banter-Cast.
Yeah, sorry guys, if you wanted video games, we just really went off there.
Well, the problem is that, like we said, this isn't a huge news week.
Yeah, and I only got a small chance to talk about Hollow Knight, while Garrett got to spew on about RuneScape, so excuse me.
I'm sorry.
We could have talked about Neopets, too.
Well, I guess we could have.
No, we're not going to talk about Neopets.
So what are some games, apart from the ones that we're going to be doing exclusive shows on, which I'm excited about, are there any others that have been interesting? Like, oh my god, I just remembered. So I have a coworker that recently got Baldur's Gate, the new one.
Baldur's Gate 3.
Yes, Baldur's Gate 3. And apparently they had a big update where they introduced a new class.
Okay, I haven't played the new update yet. No, I saw it, but I haven't played it yet.
So they introduced druids, right?
So there's been updated games, so Baldur's Gate included, and also Subnautica. I have not played them yet, so I haven't even looked into it. So it's a druid?
It's druid, yeah. And from what he said, it sounds like from this update, it like erased your save data.
Oh, that's normal.
Is it normal?
It's normal.
Oh, okay.
It's normal. I'm not. Oh yeah, I'm gonna be shocked because like I'm playing an early access game. My save data got released. I'd be an asshole if I felt that way.
Okay, so yeah, he literally got the game, and then he was about to start playing, and then he saw that one of the developers was like, "Hey, we got a big new update coming out, and it's coming out tonight." And then like later it was like, "Hey, just kidding, couple more days," or something like that. So he waited a few days, and Drew's the one he wanted to play. So, I'll take what he said about the game because I thought it was interesting because I got your take.
My take was pretty harsh.
He has never played Baldur's Gate games,
How dare he?
so he can't compare it to that.
But then he can't even talk about it.
But he's played tons of Divinity.
Okay, well,
So he's very familiar with Larian.
I played both of them, and so how dare he?
So, well, the interesting is because he doesn't know Baldur's Gate, he's just seeing Divinity to this Baldur's Gate
It's
alternative.
basically Divinity, but not good.
Yeah, so, I mean, like, to him, it seemed good. Because he doesn't know Baldur's Gate, or what Baldur's Gate typically goes for. But something he was really impressed with was the characters.
So compared to Divinity,
Yeah.
the character interactions. I'm gonna bounce on that for a second. The character interactions are a lot better in Baldur's Gate. Correct. It has more of a Dragon Age Witcher style dialogue. Like the dialogue interaction is much more involved as opposed to Divinity, which was very impersonal. Mm-hmm. And they really did a good job trying to make it personal, like trying to incorporate personality into the characters' interactions, the way they spoke, their dialogue. But the way the mechanics of the game worked, it still came off as very just superficial. And Baldur's Gate 3 has taken the next step forward, which it brings you into the conversation. Like you zoom into it. It's very classic, like Bethesda, CD Projekt Red,
Basically any of those kind of
basically
Fallout,
any
yeah.
common RPG nowadays that has like you get in on the conversation. You see the character's face, you see their reactions, the way their face moves, their mouth moves. That was not the case in Divinities prior. So that's a great step forward, and the characters are a lot better. They're a lot better developed, maybe even a little more cliche in some cases, but honestly, Larian is very goofy with their characters, so that doesn't surprise me.
Something he mentioned was that he regretted not interacting with as many characters in Divinity, because he's like, after playing this game, he just wished that he would have...
Did he just skip through Divinity? Like, that's the whole point of the game, is to talk to people.
So he was saying that there are certain characters that aren't crucial to the story.
I mean, there's NPCs.
Like,
yeah.
basically NPCs. Like,
You can talk to any character in Divinity. You can.
But there's party members, I think, right? Optional party members.
Correct.
And
yeah.
I think he just kind of skipped out on those.
He was Lone Wolf? He went Lone Wolf?
Something like that.
Lone Wolf is a talent, and you get bonus to your stats if you don't have party members.
Oh, okay.
But that's a weird thing for someone to do on their first playthrough, so I don't think he would do that.
I don't... Now I'm curious, because he was just saying that, like, in Divinity, he wished he would have gone deeper into these, like, side character kind of situations.
Because the characters were very well developed in Divinity. I mean, as much as I said superficial, it was mostly mechanic-wise. Like,
Yeah.
the game didn't really give you it didn't get you in on them.
Yeah.
But they had a lot to them. Their characters were well-rounded still.
So I think what it may have been is characters that you can't play he talked to a lot of, but it was the characters that you can play as, like, on your team that he didn't go deeper.
Maybe, I mean, it's a classic thing in Divinity.
Yeah.
Divinity, it's always been about the main characters, i.e. the characters you can have in your party, being ones you want to talk to, because they will react, they will have opinions, and usually it actually has an exclamation mark above their head when they have a new opinion to say. So
Maybe it was the opposite. Maybe it was the ones that aren't involved. He was I don't know. I'm sounding really ignorant right now because like I've never played Divinity.
I want to talk. I want to talk to your coworker and
yeah, you
like,
should. You
find
actually
out.
you should.
Dude, I've been playing Divinity since Divine Divinity. I love the Divinity series. I love Larian.
Yeah, I would love to hear what you had to say with him because he's restarted that game. He's never beaten it because he always plays with friends, and so he's like.
Has he played Divinity? Has he played Original Sin 1 or just 2?
Just 2, I think.
Jeez. Okay, I'm sorry. Go on.
Be nice. Hey, don't be an elitist over Divinity.
I played. I'm sorry. I don't mean to be that way. I really hate when people are that way. I played all the titles. So to me, it's like, how can you not play all of them? Because they're all good.
No. So in his defense, he actually was introduced to video games late. Like, if I remember correctly, he didn't start playing video games until he was about like 17, 18.
Okay.
So like his intro to gaming is modern stuff, and then just going back to a few classics. Because I remember at work he was asking me, what are your top 5 favorite games? And like I listed some, and he's like, never played those.
He's like, oh, Pong, Mahjong, and some card games maybe.
Chess.
Like, well, I mean, if he lived out in the country, we can only assume he probably didn't have chess.
It was just very interesting to see how he saw the gaming world as someone who was coming in as like not a child anymore.
Is he a teenager?
He's about like 20. 21.
Oh, okay.
He's like literally only been gaming for a few years now.
Jeez.
So it's just very interesting.
I'm sorry. I'm usually everyone well, actually, no, I work with a lot of guys who think people who play video games are like 1980s nerds with round glasses, like big bifocals that like know how to program like green screen computers and never leave the basement of their home. So I'm not going to say I don't know people who don't play video games, but I'm just used to people like us.
Yeah, it was just a very interesting situation. But
yeah, it's. I mean, he sounds young, and to be introduced that late, that can be a little weird, I guess. So back to more topic. Basically, what games are more exciting to play? Baldur's Gate 3 with the update, that does interest me a lot, and I have been meaning to check it out. Subnautica, like I said, the new Subnautica Frozen game had a new update. They again rounded out the story a lot, more dialogue, just more stuff basically, and the game is close to completion. It's getting right there. I'm really excited. I want to get back into that again, but I think I'm still going to hold off until it's fully done because it's so close. Grounded also got an update too. Looks really good. I'm still holding off because that game I kind of do want my save to not get deleted, and it was. So I'm gonna.
Oh man.
I'm not hurt by it because again, I played enough early access games to be used to this. But in Grounded, it's the kind of game, it's a survival game, so you kind of don't want your stuff to get lost after you worked for it. So I'm holding off on that one still too. But we were talking about more kind of what we're gonna do in the future with our podcast, and in games that we want to try out. But we're gonna hold off on that right now because that's gonna be future stuff and future content for what we're planning, and you guys will find out soon. Trust me.
Yeah, we're super excited. Oh god, I'm like, it's getting me hyped up because
we kind of want to squeal about it right now, but we gave you enough information. Just wait.
Yeah, it's been very interesting doing this whole like weekly news thing, which for me it's what this podcast was about. Like when I first began.
Originally, sure, yeah.
Yeah, because I was just doing news updates. I thought it was a fun way to do podcast stuff, but I've been realizing like, there's just so much more to do.
There really is.
Like news is exciting, but the problem is like a lot of people just get it so quick on social media.
Yep.
And you know what we did is we benefited our opinion.
And we can ramble a lot. I mean, especially me, I feel like, but what it comes down to is that we often would just go off on tangents about games and the history of the company and our experience with the company and our opinion.
Yes.
So why the hell don't we just go full into this anyway?
I was going to say, I feel like the stuff that we rambled on about and what people probably like is the tangent stuff that is what we're going to be making full episodes about.
And if you got this far in the episode, you heard it.
Congratulations.
The RuneScape, I mean, maybe even a little Hollow Knight there, but the RuneScape and the Divinity and all that. That's what we really want to do more of in a more structured and professional setting than just as casual as this might be.
Yeah, and this could even possibly lead to video content on YouTube. This has been kind of what we've been wanting to do for a long time.
This will be a more easier introduction for us to do video content because it will be more structured as opposed to these discussions which are a little more helter-skelter and harder to video.
Yeah. So I hope you're all looking forward to that. We would love to hear your opinion on it because at the end of the day, we want to do stuff that you enjoy listening to.
Yes.
So, honestly, if you guys like hearing the news discussions, we can continue doing news discussions more often if that's something you like. We will still be doing that, like I said, but mostly for just big announcements. There'll be shorter episodes, probably more like 15 to 30 minutes max.
Yeah.
Because we're just going to be focusing on that main topic. And then anything else exciting that happens.
Yeah, I mean, if you just want us to jump the gun and just drop our Frank Sinatra-inspired album, or maybe just learn an instrument. I mean, why not? But really, we would love to hear any thoughts, opinions on it, because we're excited to do it, and we're definitely going to go for it.
Yeah, so to do that, you can contact us in many different ways. You can contact us directly through email, which is podoutofmana@gmail.com. You can find us on YouTube at Out of Mana. Just drop a comment, and while you're there, you should subscribe and like. And we would appreciate that.
We really appreciate that.
And then we're on social media. Can we be found, man?
We're at Twitter, which is Pod Out of Mana on Twitter. That's our most active, I feel like.
Yes.
And what about Instagram? Same
Instagram
thing?
is also Pod Out of Mana.
Exactly. So, thank you for tuning in. We hope you enjoyed this episode, all the rambling, all the fun, everything that went with it. And tune in next time.
We'll see you next time when you need to fill up on mana.